In classrooms around the world, children sit in circles embracing plush Torahs and singing Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe Marasha Kihila Yaakov. The phrase which means, the Torah that God commanded to Moses is an inheritance for the entire Jewish community. What makes this passage unique? And why is this designated to be the first Torah concept taught to a Jewish child? Every person has an inner child. Many basic life lessons that we teach our children are equally relevant to adults. In this series called Reparenting Your Inner Child, Mrs. Shimona Tzukerny, an international lecturer and founder of OMEC, a nonprofit organization dedicated to in-depth transformational learning and living, will discuss the 12 Torah passages that the Lubavitcher Rebbe taught to children. And she will explore their relevance for children and adults alike. This segment will examine the first passage, Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe.
Hi, we're starting the first of our 12 passages for personal growth and reparenting our inner child. So far we did 2 sections of introduction, and today we're going to begin with the passage that starts in Hebrew, Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe. The entire phrase says as follows: the Torah which Moses has commanded us is an inheritance for the entire Jewish people, for the community of Jacob. Why is this the first passage? Why is this the point of departure from which we're going to be building ourselves, reparenting our own inner child, and being able to reach out to the children in our lives, whether they are our own children or kids in school, you may be an educator, or people that we come across in our community. So the first thing is that this passage establishes the validity of the giving of the Torah, which is the body of the entirety of Jewish law, and all of our daily lives are on an ongoing and constant basis drawing from that one moment in Jewish history. So we're not going to go into it now, how we can prove that the giving of the Torah is a historical event and actually happened. We've discussed that in other videos. What I want to stress over here is that we want to kind of build ourselves from this point and give to our kids that the Torah is the basis. It is our wellspring, our ground zero, our point of departure. And Moses, is essential in that transmission. In fact, the word Torah in Hebrew has a numerical value of 611, and we know that there are 613 commandments. So our sages tell us the first 2 commandments, I am the Lord your God, and don't worship other gods, don't bow down to idols, were heard by the entire Jewish people. They're actually the front and back of one coin. They're essential and they complement and build each other. That establishes our belief in God. Who is God? What is the nature of God in the mind, the consciousness of a Jew? How do we understand him? And how does that fit with, if you already believe in God, why do you have to be told not to worship idols? This came to us directly from God because this is truly the basis of anything that we believe in and anything that we practice. Then we have Torah, 611 commandments. These were transmitted to us, given to us by Moses. And just as Moshe educated the people of his generation, he's called the Rebbe, he was the teacher, the rabbi of the Jewish people, he's also called the faithful shepherd. So too, in every generation, there is one individual in particular, and then also the individuals, the rabbis and the teachers who give over that message. But we're not generating something new, innovative in the conventional sense. Teaching Torah has to be, do I understand what God told Moses at Mount Sinai? Am I connected to that source, to that wellspring? If I am basing my current practice or a Rav rules, a rabbi rules in a particular situation, what is demanded of us in this specific situation, and that ruling or that practice is based upon the laws that were given to Moses at Sinai in conjunction with the principles that were given to Moshe about how to derive new laws, because Torah is a very organic structure that combines a written and oral tradition together, then I know that my current practice or today's ruling, whatever I was told, is something that is in alignment with the Torah that Moses commanded us. It's taking me right back to those original principles. So we have this notion that we heard 2 commandments from God and 611 were received from Moshe. And now we understand this pivotal role of Moshe and our desire to connect with the authenticity and authority of what was given at Mount Sinai. What I want to focus on in a more interpersonal sense is the notion of the Torah being an inheritance, particularly to the congregation of Jacob. It doesn't say to Israel. Our father, Yaakov Avinu, Jacob, is called both Yaakov and Yisrael. And the first name, Jacob, is indicative of the heel, Yud, Akev. This letter Yud that represents the transcendent dimension coming into the lowest aspects of our being, as opposed to Yisroel, which is made up of the words Li Rosh, the head is to me. So Yisroel focuses on the head and the higher consciousness of a person, and Yaakov is about bringing that into the lowest aspect of who we are. And this idea is connected with the notion of inheritance that we find in the first verse. What we are being asked to do is to bring the Torah down into the lowest dimension of our beings. It's not enough to be a book Jew, to be an academic, professional scholar, etc., and I sit and learn and study the texts. If there's no practice, then even my learning doesn't have a continued existence. I have to be able to take those teachings and then the yadata, know it, bind it into your hearts. And when I can bind it into my heart, then I'm going to have a change in practice. And what this verse tells us is as follows. You may think that you have not inherited, that you don't have a part in this Torah. Either a person could say, I didn't grow up with it, wasn't part of my tradition, my parents didn't teach me, or I don't have the intelligence to study it, or I don't have the patience, or I don't have the inner emotional world, resonance to connect with it. No. The answer to that is Torah is our inheritance, and there's something very unique about the notion of inheritance. It's not a gift, and it's not a purchase. It's something that we have been given automatically. Just as when a parent, God forbid, passes away, what they have automatically passes on to the next of kin. It's like a flow. We can speak about a nachla, a portion that one inherits, and that's connected to the Hebrew word for a stream, a flowing body of water, a nachal, because what our parents have are transmitted to us automatically. And that goes for physical possessions, that whatever a person owns when they pass away is given automatically to the children, and a parent cannot stop that from happening. They could diminish the flow of what will be given to a child, but both halachically in Jewish law and spiritually, cosmically, that is flowing naturally, organically. It's part of the way the universe works, that what we own goes to our children. But it's not only our physical possessions. What we have in our inner being, our emotional way of being in the world, even our physical attributes, these are also passed on to our children. My daughter was watching a video the other day, and in the video there was a footage of her friend's father, and she says to me, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I cannot believe how so-and-so call her Sarah. I cannot believe how Sarah is just like her father." And we see it, our children take on our movements, they have our cells, our DNA, they inherit our possessions. Not only that, our children inherit the Torah through us, and we have inherited the Torah from our parents and they from theirs. So what's important for us to really grasp over here is the Torah is mine. I may not know it as of now, but I have innate access to it. As the oral law tells us, the sages tell us that when a fetus is in the womb, it is taught the entire Torah. When we're born, we forget that. But it's an important aspect. You see, we need to re-access the Torah through our own conscious work. And yet, at the same time, we have it embedded, imprinted in our own inner being. In addition to that, and even more basically than that imprint on our soul, is the fact that this is our inheritance. And God is the Father who is giving it to us. We all received it from Moshe, from God at Mount Sinai. And that enables us to take these profound teachings and bring them from the level of Yisroel, from the level of our head and our academic learning, all the way down into the nitty-gritty of daily life. How am I going to greet my friend, put on my shoes, deal with breakfast, etc., etc.? How am I going to deal with my money, with my marital relationship? All of that has to hold within it the teachings of the Torah that were received by Moshe, by Moses at Mount Sinai, and given to us as our divine right, our inheritance. Until next time, have a wonderful day.